think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion!
Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
That I don't think that he's good. That I
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Welcome in to a Friday morning live because I watched another great episode of Ladies of London last night, and I'm working on something I want to get out probably sometime today as well. And Friday Night Live I will not be able to do. So I wanted to make sure I'm here this morning. Those of you that can come in the live, thank you so much for coming in the live. I'm sorry, the sun is at a bad place. I didn't get to change my setup. Excuse me for that, but that is the lovely Kimmy that you see. I started out with there because Kimmy features in this episode. Kimmy is something else. I've been watching Kimmy since episode 1. We have made it already to episode 5. This is season 4, even though it's a reboot. It's not season 1. It's season 4 of Ladies of London, The New Reign. This is the lovely Kimmy behind me. And I'm going to, because it is a new cast and we're getting to know everyone together, I'm going to switch and go back and forth and make sure that we get to know everyone as we go through. I'll switch on and off and make sure you can see everybody. I'm going to go through the cast first again at the bottom in white. That is the lovely Missy. Missy is a Swedish model. We found out that her sister is as well. Her sister married a football player or footballer. I'm not talking about American football when we're with this show because this is Ladies of London. So the number one world sport that I'm talking about here is actually, we will refer to it as soccer, but they will say football. That's what they're talking about. That is the beautiful Missy down on the, I guess it's my right, or down on the bottom in white. I'll say that. Martha is a lady, so Lady Martha Sitwell. And Martha is the one that has the bird called Haggai, as she calls her. It's a magpie. It flies all around and makes a mess of her. It's almost a hovel, everybody, but I won't call it that. Martha, I'm proud of her. She's trying to upgrade her sitting room. She's doing it with a 3,500 euro budget. She's already given her key to a man in the park. So Martha is a bit of a mess. And I have something for Martha a little later during this review. Next in pink is one of the Americans. This is the lovely Myka. Myka was very heavily featured episode 1 and 2. Again in this episode. I like Myka. She's a sweetie. She is a wife and mother. She is running an etiquette business. You'll see her on American TV talking about etiquette and manners and everything like that, which is very necessary, very necessary. She's trying to help the reputation of a whole country, everybody. So I have something special for Myka as well. In the middle, front and center, as Bravo likes to do, they have chosen their star, honey. They've put Lady Emma. Emma is so gorgeous. Emma's beautiful. I don't know if she is the star. She might be the most highly titled one there, even though I heard Kimmy, I believe, say Martha is the real lady of the group. They like to throw a little shade like that, but we can catch it. We can catch it. Lady Emma is lovely. She's not friend of y'all. She is full-time on the show, but because of her duties, I'm not sure if we'll see her as much as we like to see her. But from her placement, I know Bravo is saying she is a star. Over her shoulder, posing like a vamp, that is the lovely Margot. Margot is the other American. Margot is an actress. Margot's going to tell us every episode a couple of times she was in, I call it a nasty movie. She would refer to it as an art film because it was featured at Cannes. That's Martha. Directly below her and Emma is Mark Francis. This is Ladies of London, but he is very obviously a gent, a good-looking gent, a funny gent. I find Mark kind of loud as well. He's always beautifully dressed. We got to see his beautiful apartment last episode and also this episode. Looks like a museum. It is gorgeous. In green, I started out with her. That is Kimmy. Kimmy is billed as American as well. They put the flags up on who is who. Kimmy's parents, they say she's a Haitian shipping heiress. So we might dive into that a little bit later. Since Kimmy likes to dive into people's past, she may have one that we may dive into. I'm not sure. But Kimmy, you can expect beautiful clothes, vulgarity, drinking. She says she's loyal. She's kind of a bulldog amongst certain people. I notice it's toward people she feels like might be weaker than her. I saw that in Margot last episode. I don't think that works. Margot is quieter with it, but she's a little brash. She's not going to bow down to Kimmy. I do like Kimmy, but I don't know if Kimmy knows how she's coming across. She may. The end of last episode, she says, "Now I'm the villain." Bravo will do a villain arc for certain characters. I think they had it in mind for Dara. Dara flipped the script and left. So now I think that villain is Kimmy. And last but certainly not least, in another beautiful suit, part of the Joshua, Lottie, I'll say Lottie, Joshua, because this is her show. We see Joshua, but we feature Lottie. Lottie is gorgeous. We find out that Lottie is expecting. So I am thrilled to see Lottie on this show. I like all of the cast. And I went from, during the first review, I didn't know whether or not this cast is likable at all, but I do think that they are a likable cast. I like all of the talks that they have. Excuse some of the length of the reviews because they do a lot of talking. They have a lot of activities. They don't just get together and argue. That is something that some of the Housewives show have gone to, and I don't like it at all. I don't think it's a good formula, and I think viewership will be down if they do that. Whereas with Ladies of London, we have genuine friendships. People have known each other 10 years, 20 years. I think it's really important. Welcome in, Kiwan JTV. This is my friend and fellow content creator. Good morning, Miss Sandra. I'm sitting in while I work. Thank you. I appreciate when they do that. If you sit in and you're working, you can't really get down in the comments. That is fine. I appreciate anyone that appears during the live. That really helps me out in the algorithm. Click the like button, of course. Team Replay, you know I appreciate you as well. And Team Replay, what you can do also, there's a new hype feature. You only get 3 a week. So right now, I just recommend, if you can, use them for one of the growing channels, newer channel material that is a must-see, and we appreciate that so much. Welcome in, CC. CC is one of my moderators. I have barely started the review, CC, so thank you for coming in right on time where I can do the housekeeping. Good Friday morning at Sandra P's Gen Extra and chat. Please like, share, subscribe to enjoy all the amazing content. Everyone's speaking to each other. The only thing I've done so far, honestly, everyone, I'll drop down again so you can see the picture of everyone. If you're just listening, I dropped out because my picture shows this cast. This is a reboot. So it's a whole new cast, and we have to get to know everyone. So we have Missy on the far right in white, Martha or Lady Martha in black. Myka is one of the Americans. She is in pink. Lady Emma is in black, the strapless black in the middle. Thandie Newton vibes to me. Margot is an actress. She's an American, or as she was called by Kimmy last week, South Carolina. So South Carolina. We have Mark Francis is the only gent of the ladies. He is an antiques dealer. He's in white at the bottom. Kimmy is in green, and that is Lottie in black. And I will go through periodically and introduce everyone to everyone so we get to know them. It's a reboot, but everybody's new to us. And I'm sorry, it looks like my iPad is in the frame, but I'm going to try to review like this because I have notes, and it does take a lot of notes for this show because they do a lot of talking. Okay, so we have Kiki, and this episode is episode 5, and this is Martha in the middle. Where's she at? In the middle. We find out that Martha, as friendly and lovely as Martha is, Martha holds her friendships very close. Martha doesn't really like to pick a side, and if there's a side to be picked, she doesn't want to pick the wrong side. I agree with Martha with where she is during this whole, I will say, Kimmy and Margot situation. The reason it's a situation is because Kimmy is very angry that Margot went back and told Missy that Kimmy was being a little flippant over the story that Missy told about the death of her brother. As we know, she shared at a winery event where they were all having lunch. It's supposed to be just light lunch, wine, good times. And Missy tells a story that her brother Alex, 4 years ago, was taken by gun violence in front of his wife and two small children on Christmas Eve. And this triggered some sort of round robin of bad news, to which Kimmy was really upset about. She feels like that was Missy's fault for turning the event and that she didn't have to do that. Welcome in, Linda Gamble. Thank you so much for coming in. Cece, I don't have Paramount, so I have to figure out where to watch. Cece, it's on the Bravo app as well. With so it is on the Bravo app. If you're able to watch other Bravo shows, you can watch it on Bravo. I watch it on Peacock if I don't get to watch it until the next day, because I don't have to deal with the commercials. So if you have Bravo app, it's available there. And then, it's Peacock, Kiwanje. The first few episodes they do have on YouTube. The first one I know they have on YouTube. But yeah, if you're still watching the Housewives shows or some of the surrounding shows, I know some of them you dropped, but it is Peacock or Bravo. Welcome in, Linda Gamble, one of the moderators. Good to see you. Happy Friday, Sandra Peach, Gen Extra. Thank you so much for coming in. You don't have Peacock either? Okay, so if you don't have Peacock either, probably if you can catch it on YouTube. Because since it's new or reboot, you have the Bravo app? Okay, you can watch it there then. You can watch it there. All right, everybody. So we will get into this episode number 5, Martha in the middle. Where's she at? In the middle. But we start out with Myka. Myka is right there in pink. I was going to try to move to the side where you could see her. No, that took her out altogether. Okay, that is Myka right above me in the pink dress. I apologize, everybody. There she is, Myka. Myka is in pink. Myka is one of the Americans. Myka is the etiquette coach with 2 children and the husband that stays on the road. He's a financier. So he's a financier. He stays on the road, and Myka's kind of navigating through that. And I like that we see her building her business, this etiquette business that she has. It looks like it's really lucrative. She gets a lot of attention from it. I've seen her on morning television talking about what she does. Okay, and so we start out with Myka is driving. So she's saying driving in London is kind of hard. She lets us know she has never gotten a ticket while she was driving in the U.S. Well, Myka, there's a lot of reasons behind that, but I won't get into the deep politics of it. But evidently, she's saying the British are sticklers for rules. Yes, there's a lot of cars on the road, and they do have to be sticklers for rules. Linda Gambo's giving a suggestion. Get Philo app. Everything unedited Bravo own network is on there too. Good advice. I just dropped them only because I had a lot of duplicate stuff, Cece, for some reason. Now, if I get rid of the additional apps, I might go back to that. And when I started Philo, it was $16. The last debit I had was $33. I don't like when they sneak and the way they do that. 7 likes, 1 in the chat. Thank you so much. And people are going to be in and out. I know that Kiwan J let me know she was at work, but I appreciate you coming in, clicking the like button, whether or not you get to hang out. So thank you all so much. This is the new Ladies of London, the new reign, episode 5, Martha in the middle. Myka's having a challenge driving around. She's with her driving instructor. The driving instructor looked over it, but she was being very, very patient with Myka. Myka, this is serious. I don't know if you needed the cameras in the car for this. She's parked so close to a tree. You know, the door for the driver's side is different. It's reversed than from what it is over here. She can't even open her door to get out. So Myka has already started a mess. So she says if she has one more driving incident, she's going to lose her license. Y'all, that is serious. So we get all the different casts giving their strategies toward driving. Martha comes on laughing in her confessional. She says, I'm not a great driver, but I'm a very confident driver. Martha, Lady Martha, that is a dangerous combination. Mark said he sits in the back seat so he can be on the phone, do what he needs to do, and get to his destination with very little issue. Mark, I approve that message. I wish I could do that. Linda Gamble says, I'm going to have to binge watch the new Ladies of London. Linda Gamble, I think it's well worth the watch. I really like it. I'm kind of surprised, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I do like it. I think it's a really good show. So Emma says that she doesn't really drive. She walks and she takes taxis when she has to come into London. So I would expect no less from Lady Emma. And then we have, they don't go to the other cast as far as what they do with driving. But I do like also during the show, we get to see them amongst different groups all together. So we have Myka, Kimmy, and Martha. They are meeting for lunch. Kimmy, they put her on the screen with that American flag, reminding us she's Haitian American. Her father's actually Haitian, and she is a shipping heiress. So let me see if I can show Kimmy again real quick, just so everybody. That's her in green, but you can see the there she is. That is Kimmy. So Kimmy she's American, she is Haitian, and she is a shipping heiress. But I think we're going to start hearing a lot more about Kimmy, everybody. So she is at lunch with Myka and also Martha, and they're meeting for lunch. So Kimmy is still upset about the fact that Missy and she are into it, and she's blaming Margot for this. The reason she's blaming Margot for this is because Margot is the one that Margot ran back and told Missy what was said. But honestly, I don't blame her for doing that. I feel like she needed to know what was being said about her. And Kimmy, you were not being too nice. Now, Kimmy is pretending that it wasn't anything that was mean. She just was talking about the fact that Missy brought up something sad. I won't say negative because it wasn't negative, but it was extremely sad. And then that changed the mood of the whole winery luncheon that they were having. But she's mad. She's going to put the whole thing on Margot now. And then now she and Margot had words in the last episode. She's kind of upset about that. Welcome in, everyone. As you come in, click the like button. I appreciate it. American Born came in and says, good morning, Sandra P's Gen Extra. Also, dear Yvette has joined the chat. Good morning, Sandra, chat, Moth. Thank everyone so much. We actually just got started. We have Myka driving all over the place, literally getting ready to lose her license if she has one more driving incident. So I hope she's not playing this for jokes. It's really serious. She's in the car with a driving instructor. And then we have the three ladies that are here at lunch. Kimmy speaks pretty aggressively, y'all. Kimmy likes to do a lot of pointing. She does a little bit of cussing, and she leans in and gets in people's face. Kimmy, you're an adult woman, you full grown, but that doesn't work in some circles. But these ladies are allowing you to do this, so for now, I guess we'll allow it. So Kimmy's having a very animated conversation about Missy and Margot. She's really upset. So Myka is telling everybody about her home situation. We know her husband is a financier. He travels weekly, so he is all over the globe. She's mainly getting a lot of FaceTime from him, and she's saying her 3-year-old is up every 2 to 3 hours overnight. I don't know how she does it. She said she stayed up until 2 a.m. herself, working on her new etiquette program. This could be lucrative, Myka, and I don't know if that's the reason she does it, but it sounds like it's going to be a hit. She says she's going to teach etiquette to children up to the ages of 6 or 7. So she's putting together these puppets. She's kind of troubleshooting to see what voices she should use. We see a cute little clip of her 3-year-old Max. Being a 3-year-old, he's running all around. But she said the pressure is on because people think if you're an etiquette coach, your kids are going to be perfect. I don't know who thinks that, but that's what she said. And this is desperately needed in the U.S. and anywhere, really. People are so rude. So if she can start with the younger children, we'll see if that helps anything. Yes, she loves to confront people. American Born says that's about Kimmy. She's in the right country for etiquette. I think so too. I mean, it was so funny. Lottie's a good shade thrower as well. The first episode when it was brought up what Myka actually does, Lottie says, an American etiquette expert? Do they even have etiquette? Lottie, I see you. There are some very rude Americans, especially when certain ones travel. There's a whole trope called ugly American, and it's not actually a trope because a lot of it's true. I'm always on my best behavior because I'm from a large family, and my mother and father had beautiful manners, and they always instilled that in their children. So Kimmy is asking, did you have fun? She's asking about the event that they had last week. They're saying, we had a great time. We had a great time. Kimmy says she was surprised by Mark. They're talking about the art event, that Mark was so shy. I don't know that he was shy, but Kimmy said something I didn't like. It's not like he's never ever been around that before. Remember, they were drawing a naked man, and Mark didn't say he hadn't been around that before, but he didn't like the fact that it was like in his face. So they were laughing about him putting the foliage of the hydrangeas up and then drawing those, but I didn't blame Mark. So she said, of all people, I thought he'd be into it. Now, Kimmy got a slick mouth. Y'all's going to get her in trouble. And then she said Lottie was uncomfortable. I didn't see Lottie being uncomfortable. Lottie was more assessing, kind of like, I saw that little face Lottie made. Lady Emma might have been uncomfortable, but Mark was definitely the most uncomfortable. So they have the other group of ladies are over at, this is Missy's apartment, because if they were at Martha's, that magpie Haggerty would be diving everywhere and trying to poke people's eye out. But they are at Missy's beautiful, lovely condo, and they're eating a bunch of breakfast pastries. I really like the spreads they put out for each other. So they're talking about the event that happened. And Missy is asking, Lottie gets really hot all of a sudden. She just told us that she's carrying the first child for her and Joshua, and she got kind of a hot flash. And Missy, Missy, English is her second language. So she said, "Are you having thrush?" Production puts up what thrush is. It's a fungal infection. She said, "No, I think thrush is something else." So they're laughing about that. Lottie says that, yes, she does get hot flashes. She's telling us they are doing a gender reveal party. That's more of an American thing. Lottie, it's not really an American thing. It's more of a TikTok phenomenon. And it is a newer thing where people that want to be seen, they've come up with all these different traditions. But honestly, past 10 years ago, I never heard of a gender reveal. We have baby showers and things like that, but this gender reveal thing is relatively new. So they are all talking about the gender reveal. And Missy is telling her, well, just make sure you at least have a night nurse. And Lottie asked her, well, did you have a nurse, or you just advised me to have one? I told y'all Lottie had a slick mouth. So Missy's saying, well, for her first child, I think his name is River. For River, I did. For my second one, I didn't. Now, remember, Missy had one child by her husband, who is a famous footballer. So I guess he was making a lot of money at that time. And then by the time she got divorced and he took their son with him, I know there's tea behind that, y'all. We'll find out as the show goes on. She said, I did it myself the second time. The second time is this baby. I won't call it a rebound baby. I'll call the man a rebound. She calls, I guess, someone that she had a baby with within 8 months of her separating from her husband. I think she called him a good guy, but probably because she didn't want to call him a bad boy or something like that. So Missy's saying she didn't have help with the first one. She did with the second one, but she's advising Lottie. Lottie's in a confessional. My mom had 4 kids, and my father was a CEO. We didn't see him a lot. My mom did everything by herself. So Lottie has Joshua, so we'll see if she's going to get help or not. I don't know. American Born agrees about we were talking about gender reveals. Exactly, it's about showing off on social media. Yeah, because that's not it. I never went to a gender reveal as a child, but I went to plenty of baby showers. That's been there. Yes, gender reveals are new and have gotten out of hand. Cece, they be burning down stuff and everything. I hope it dials back. Lottie ends up having a nice one, with I'll cover briefly, because it was just a family garden party, which I can understand that. You don't need to blow anything up. That's crazy. Cece says within 8 months of separation, so she was cheating while married. Missy didn't get into her business, but the baby was born and they had not been separated 8 months. And then the new guy, it's a volatile relationship. She said the ending of her marriage was very volatile. And also she lost custody of her first child. So we have to read between the lines. But usually when a mother loses custody like that, that could be it, Cece. And everything is alleged, in my opinion. I'm scrolling the banner where we are speculating within 8 months of separation, doing some quick calculations and saying, so she was cheating while married. We'll leave that as a question, because it's a question. American Born said, sounds like it to me. So we're both kind of listening and looking, and we'll see. More tea is going to come out. They love to spill tea. They're going to sit up and talk about everybody else. American Born's laughing. It is funny, and then the way they're framing it. 2 children with 2 different men within that time frame. One of them was her husband. But it's Missy. She's a model, and so bravo, this is okay. So Kimmy was being extremely rude, according to Lottie. Lottie said that it was rude the way that she spoke to Missy and the way that she spoke to Margot. We get a flashback. Kimmy was on one at that first party that they had. Kimmy was doing a lot of pointing, a lot of leaning in, and quite a bit of cussing. And then Margot was telling her, you get your finger out of my face. They show Margot tell her, you are the littlest Popeye person I've ever seen. That was kind of funny, y'all. She called this lady the littlest Popeye person she'd ever seen. American Born says, yes, on the Housewives, it's normal to tell someone else's business to take the heat off of them. Yes, and we'll slide this in. This is another standalone show, kind of like Married to Medicine, but the participants, they do have certain housewives like behavior. Even Mark, who is a gent, Mark is the only man. There he is down below in the white, the very handsome Mark Francis. Mark is a trip, though. I've seen him doing the media rounds. I've got my good eye on Mark. We might talk about him, the way he drops stuff about people. So Kimmy says in the other group, Margot doesn't care about Missy. Margot just likes to be able to bring things back and reframe the narrative. I don't know that that's what it was. Kimmy was pretty flippant and pretty disgusting, some of the things she said about Missy. Now, I have perused some of the London papers, and y'all, some of the gossip, it is in there about the brother. Rest in peace to Alex, but there are, if you watch the BBC, there are underworld activities all over the world. Again, nothing that Alex could have done or been involved in. If you're human, your heart is still going to go out to a wife and two toddlers who watch the father and husband be brutally taken away, okay? So Missy and her sister are still broken up over that. And Missy also told this group that the reason why she was so brokenhearted is because not just the events, but because of the rumors about it. And for Kimmy to spread that, Kimmy, that's a little unforgivable. And to judge Missy based on that, everyone has someone in their family. You can't say what that person does or doesn't do and then take it on you. So I don't know what Kimmy was expecting anybody to do with that. Of course, Margot would go back and tell this information to Missy. Yes, on the housewife. Okay, I'm sorry. We already covered that. Do you think Kimmy is nasty because she is upset her daughter has special needs? American born, that could be part of it. Now, what we found out from when she introduced her husband, she and the husband were estranged. He just came back into their lives, and Kimmy has been doing a lot of drinking, and then to mix having twins, which is a lot, and then one of them with special needs, which is a little girl. It could be something to that. I happen to agree. So Kimmy is arguing with, she's not really arguing with, but she's making really strong points to Mark. Lady Emma is there as well. Lady Emma said Kimmy's way of conveying information is very aggressive. Thank you, Lady Emma. I love to see one of us being able to call somebody else aggressive. But again, now Kimmy's father is Haitian, so she is Haitian. The mother is American. So I don't know. Is Kimmy claiming that she is a woman of color? She's not claiming anything, but I guess that would be the normal conclusion, even though just by looks. But again, our looks range the spectrum. You can't really go by looks. So I don't know. Seems like the husband has the kids mostly. American born, it looked like it. I know she was home cooking that day, and then the husband came in with them. I love Lady Emma. Yeah, Lady Emma, I think she's a nice little pop of class to the show, because this group seemed like they can get out of hand. So I love when she said that, oh, she is a little, and she was wearing beautiful yellow too. Let me get out of the way. I can show Lady Emma. Lady Emma said that Kimmy's way of conveying information is very aggressive. So yes, Lady Emma, thank you so much for saying that. It was very aggressive. I have to agree with that. Excuse these pictures all over the place, y'all. I want to make sure that we can look at the cast while I'm talking about them, because again, we're getting to know them. So if I mention somebody, I'll try to put a configuration where you can see them. If you're the podcast and I'm going off topic, that's what I'm doing. I'm sorry about that, everybody. So that's Lady Emma in black in the middle. Thandie Newton vibes, everybody. Thandie Newton. And in the preview, we're going to get to see that lovely estate that she and her husband live on and get over 1 million visitors a year. So Lottie and Joshua have a gender reveal party. We know that the dad was the CEO. She didn't see him much coming up. He was diagnosed with an illness. She told us last week that was liver cancer. So the drinks that she has, this was really thoughtful, Lottie. Lottie can't drink because she's pregnant, and she has not been drinking at the 2 drinking events they had. The friends had a winery tour. Lottie didn't get to drink. And then they also had a sip and wine paint. Lottie didn't get to drink. This gender reveal party, her dad is a survivor of liver cancer. And then now at the end of the show, they shout him out to rest in peace. So it's good to see the dad. She and her dad, Joshua, the mom, all of the family were there with a nice garden party, a beautiful cake. And Lottie stands up, and the non-alcoholic drinks, she was asking the dad, I had the Moscow Mule, that's pretty good, and trying to find out what he likes. I just thought it was a sweet scene. And the father looked good. But rest in peace to him. They, put his picture up at the end of the episode. So that's kind of sad. Yeah, she reminds me of Thandi. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, you know how you can tell somebody looks like somebody, you can't quite tell? That's who it is. 9 likes, 6 in the chat. Thank you, Linda Gamble. I appreciate that. American Born spoke to Linda Gamble. Yes, Linda has been in and out helping. I appreciate her so much. So they're at this garden party. This is also the gender reveal. And Lottie and Joshua are talking. She cuts the cake. It's not over the top. I liked it. Lottie got up there and she said, if it's a boy, it's going to be some kind of blueberry mix. If it's a girl, the filling is going to be some kind of strawberry vanilla. And Joshua, they were dressed alike, y'all, their little suits. Joshua said, but hers was white. He said, go ahead, Top Chef. I thought that was funny, that she was kind of telling what the flavor was made of. I'm listening, but I have to leave the chat to get ready for a meeting. Thank you, CC. I appreciate that. Thank you. So they cut the cake. He said, oh, I think I can tell what it is. They cut the cake, and when the slice comes out, it is blue. So the family kind of politely chats, claps. Lottie, they were happy. She wasn't disappointed, but she said, oh, I was thinking of little girly things, and now we're going to have a little footballer on our hand. I don't know, y'all. Looking at Joshua, you think they're going to have a little footballer on their hand? Because Joshua said, he said, uh-oh, we dress alike. Can you imagine 3 little suits? So then they were laughing about that. Joshua going to have this boy sewing, because Joshua makes amazing custom suits. He said he's dressed Jason Momoa, a lot of other people, Sabrina Carpenter, and those little suits that Lottie has on, he dresses Lottie. The American Born, what do you think? American Born is laughing. So get that little sewing machine ready. I don't know about a footballer. That's Missy's kids. But again, we won't take a gender to stereotype anybody, but I thought it was funny that Lottie immediately said what she thought a girl would be, and Joshua said, no, not my son. So I thought that was really sweet. And I love their match suits. I had that in my notes. Hers was white. The London scenes are really pretty. You know how when they come back on any of the Housewives show, in London, they do the same thing. We'll get to see the front of the beautiful homes. We'll get a street scene. We'll see the cars. So I really like how they do this. This is a good production company. They'll also jump in. They do the same thing. If they're speaking about something, they'll flash back and show us who was involved. If somebody says a word we might not know, they'll put up a definition. So London is really good. Whoever that production company is, I'll pay attention next time and shout them out. American Born, I think, pointed out last week, she said production has been on it. And they have with this show too. If he turned out to be a footballer, I'll be shocked. Yeah, same. They'll be proud in any case, but I think I'm betting toward the sewing machine right now, just based on what the baby's going to be around. So we see Margot and her little girl, I think her name was Della. They arrived at the rental property. Yeah, it is. I wrote Della. Della is in her little shades. She is so cute. She's walking all around the house. She's a toddler. I don't even know if she's 2, but Margot put her down and she's kind of like walking in. She had a little car that she drove in. So I guess some of their stuff is there. Margot must talk to her a lot because she asks questions and the little girl answers. So I thought that was really cute. She's carrying a candle and Margot said, it smells really good in here. And little Della's like, mm-hmm. And then when Margot was walking up the stairs, she was carrying Della because Della is that little. And she was saying, what is your favorite color? Della said, black. And Margot had to clarify. She said, black? She said, black. So I thought that was really funny. She put her down and she said, oh, the baby's room? And Margot said, yeah, this is the baby's room. And it was a room with like twin beds and it had a little baby bed. And Della found a little child-size recliner and sat right down. So I thought that was really cute. Yeah, we still compliment production has been really good. Dear Yvette, I watch all the UK shows and their movies that have a wonderful plots and production is on point. Yes, dear Yvette, I've been a fan of BBC. There's another one called Acorn. I had to eliminate some of my streaming services, but you can find a lot of good British productions. They are really good. Midsummer Murders, all kind of stuff. This is one of my first reality show of theirs, but back in the day, EastEnders, all that stuff. I love it. So Della's sitting in there in her little chair, and Martha is saying, I literally just got here. Our stuff is coming later. I'm waiting for the whole family to come. We met the husband on the phone last week, y'all. That man, I don't know. Do y'all think he's going to show up? He didn't seem that enthusiastic. And he has two what appear to be teenage sons from a prior marriage. And she told us she had to beg the man to marry her. So I don't know. Is he going to run to London? I'm not sure. They have their freedom. I think they live in either LA or Vegas. So Martha says she has so much unpacking to do. She's completely, oh, she calls Martha. They're going through the same thing. Has Martha moved? Martha talking about unpacking. I know she is fixing up that little sitting room for 3,500 euros. She said she got so overwhelmed, she just went to get her nails done. I don't blame you, Lady Martha. That's what I would do as well. American Born likes the British shows as well. They do a really good job with plot and all of that. So they're talking on the phone. Martha is telling, well, at first, Margot invited Martha over. Martha, you want to come over? Lady Martha says, I would, but I have other plans. Y'all, we find out later the other plans are going to include, she's going out with Kimmy, Mark. It's kind of like the other half. Ladies of London, don't y'all split down the line like some of these other casts do. This is not smart. But we do get to see them talking about each other, which I'm here for it for now, but I don't want a distinct split. Kimmy just needs to apologize because she was wrong. So Martha and Margot just talk a little bit on the phone where they are in their journeys with moving, fixing up the house in Martha's case. And Lady Martha ends up telling Margot, Kimmy's on one. She got it out for you. And she did. I had to go back in my nice notes and find all of the stuff that Kimmy was saying about Margot. Kimmy was dragging Margot like a dog. Some of it was funny, but Kimmy, some of it is kind of mean. Yes, put the bird in the cage. Yeah, don't nobody want to be poked in the eye. You got to come in goggles. I don't know, but that bird needs to be in a cage. The magpie, Haggerty, and Haggerty's flying all around the house, pooping all over the place. The place didn't look clean. Martha, that looks like kind of like a hovel. You better clean up. Talking about fixing up a room. First, put the magpie away, and then we'll start fixing up the room. So she's a lion. Oh, Kimmy was saying she's a lion. She'll fight for her friends. Kimmy is doing all of this appealing for herself and trying to turn people against Margot, when really she needs to do something else with that apology. That was kind of a half-tail apology. I didn't really like the apology, but she wants to blame Margot. This was a sit down. Emma, Martha, and Mark, also Kimmy. And it's a good thing we talked up Haggerty because Kimmy immediately asked, how's your crazy bird? So these were the plans that Martha had. How's your crazy bird? She starts telling Mark, you have to wear goggles in our house so that the bird doesn't poke your eye out. Now, the way Kimmy is telling this, she's kind of making fun of Martha right in front of her face. I know they're friends, but I got my eye on Kimmy when she does that. I like Kimmy, but Kimmy can be a little bit cruel. I'm watching her, especially since she takes in the things that people tell about themselves, and then now she's laughing about it. But we don't know anything about her. Her secret would be, I can speak fluent Creole. Of course. You grew up Haitian in Miami and in Port-au-Prince. Of course. That's something that anybody would deduce, Kimmy. I had to jump back on EastEnders years ago, and the Trinidadian lady on my admin staff said Patrick from the show is her brother. I was skeptical. She had him send me a personalized pic. That was so cool of Patrick. I love him. Paul's daddy, and then the other brother, I cannot remember. The brother was an attorney. Paul was in the underworld. I love that family. And then Patrick ended up marrying Blossom. I miss EastEnders. And what I love about it, you can jump back in at any point. I had BBC America. I think they went up on their subscription because I don't have them anymore, and I had gotten behind. Because, Lord, they come out like 2 or 3 shows a week. It's only a half hour, but that piles up. But that is funny. You have a personalized photo of Patrick. Patrick said, yes, this is my sister. I know that's right, Patrick. I love that. I love when celebrities do stuff like that. So that they have the different dueling lunches almost. The other lunch, y'all, is at Margot's house. Remember, Margot and little Della just moved in. The husband is not there yet, and his 2 sons. I don't know, Margot. He might have put you on a single mother path. We'll see. Sandra, use that website I sent you to find other shows. Thank you, American Born too. I was mentioning it to Cece. I appreciate the link. I pulled it up and it said like security certificate not trusted. So I have a laptop that I can watch that on because it can bypass that. And then also it has extra like security. So thank you for that. I do see that it had the main one, Real Housewives of Lagos. So I appreciate that. American Born sent me a link that I can watch. So we see again, they're showing the clips of Kimmy and Margot, where Margot is telling Kimmy Murdoch, you do everything for attention. And Kimmy's claiming that she doesn't. You're the loudest little person I ever met, a real Popeye, which was true. But Kimmy turned around and called Margot, you're a effing B. Now, Kimmy, that is a little more aggressive than a loud Popeye. Because then Margot had to say, get your finger out of my face. And then Margot took her finger out. So that is the thing. I don't mind the arguing, but Kimmy has to be kind of careful. So now Lady Martha is making fun of Kimmy a little bit, but at least they're side by side. They're all at the lunch. She said she's outmaneuvered you. She's used her genius. And now you're furious, which is kind of true. I think that Kimmy thought Margot was going to cower or, bag back, and she didn't. So now Kimmy's really upset, and she's talking really terribly. So Mark and Lady Emma are messy. They're getting their whole life. They're sitting over there laughing. She says, you're angry, Kimmy. She said the first Duke of Wellington defeated Napoleon. Production puts up a picture of Lord Wellington or Duke of Wellington and Napoleon. They are cracking up. Martha says, and you're cross about it. Kimmy said, I'm not. She is. Kimmy's furious. Honestly, if she would laugh it off, and we know Kimmy likes to laugh, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But I don't know. This feud might get deeper, Kimmy, because Martha's not a person that's going to allow you to do that. She said she's not. She's clamoring for attention. She's talking about Margot now in that ugly, tacky jumpsuit. And then Kimmy says, there are people in LA with style and class. She's not one of them. So Lady Martha and Mark are still laughing. Mark decides he's going to jump in. They do a double dutch. Mark gets in. I was at a garden party. I met a friend. She's known her about 10 years. She saw her again, and she's unrecognizable. She's bragging, speaking about labels, speaking about money. And then production shows us Margot did do that. Oh, my vintage boots. Oh, I have $60,000 for my monthly rental. Remember, it started out as $50,000. Now it's $60,000. And they just show her kind of bragging and wearing her labels on her sleeve. So South Carolina, they're getting ready to get you. But I think Margot can defend herself. This is not really piling on yet. It's kind of mutual combat, and it's equal. It's equal. So if you watch me review other shows, the least favorite thing for me is a pile-on, especially when I feel like the person feels they're targeting a weaker person and the person like can't fight back. Like saying Angel on Potomac. Now, if the person can and will fight back, we can sit there and watch that. Margot can fight back. Kimmy is like throwing little digs, but Margot can fight back. So Mark is telling this inside information that he got. Martha says it's just LA. People are going to walk around in like Lululemon. What is that? The brand? It's like the athletic leisure brand that people go to the store and stuff in. Lululemon, that's the one. So LA, y'all got a reputation of being kind of tacky. Well, maybe that's Americans in general. I'm not sure. Kimmy's one angry lady, it seems. Yeah, there's something going on with Kimmy American Born. I guess they'll show us more. So then Martha said, well, she's well-dressed and she's still nice. She hasn't changed at all. She's gone sober. And Kimmy says, that shouldn't make you worse. Mark said, yeah, going sober shouldn't make you worse. And Martha says she's not worse. Y'all, they talk about poor Margot like a dog. So this is a trip. We're going to see what's going to happen. Margot has Missy, Lottie, and Myka are at her house. Myka is helping Margot serve. Margot saying she hasn't really hosted company in so long that she needs help. She's become a terrible hostess. I don't know if it's because of Della or not, because she has a little baby. I'm not sure. Or maybe because she's relocating. But the spread looked nice to me. She had these little, I think she said she forgot the wine. She had these mini wine bottles. She just had to pour it into a glass. That was no big deal. Missy's in a confessional joking. Next time I bring my own wine. Missy, if you want to bring a flask, bring a flask. She didn't forget the wine. So the other half of the group was over at Mark's, Lady Emma, Mark, Kimmy, and Mark's lovely museum-like apartment. Kimmy says, and she's being a B. At least I've been consistent. Kimmy's a trip. Excuse me, y'all. Lottie's joking. Excuse me, y'all. Something got in my throat. Lottie is joking. She said, they're probably itching about you right now. Myka says, why would they be bitching about her? And Lottie says, well, Kimmy was on the warpath. Now, people call Lottie with information too. Lottie is a run tell that as well. But Lottie, excuse me, y'all. Lottie's pregnant, and she has one of those personas where it seems like she's not really trying to do damage. But Lottie's got a slick mouth. I've been watching Lottie since episode 1. She was kind of throwing digs at Meghan Markle, but not really. She didn't say anything negative about Meghan Markle. She said, Lady Emma is the first woman of color to be in the royal family. Meghan claims that she is, but it's really Lady Emma. Now, I don't know that Meghan ever said that, Lottie. So that's the kind of shade that Lottie will throw. So right now, she is saying that Kimmy's on the warpath. Now, this is true. So I don't mind her bringing that back. Yeah, Lululemon, that is the brand. Yeah, that's supposed to be some type of status symbol, I guess. But walking around in sweats, anybody can do that. But apparently the British think we're a little tacky. The British are so brainwashed when it comes to Meghan Markle. There's a hate train, and I don't get it. Some of them go crazy. They talk about derangement syndrome. They have Meghan Markle derangement syndrome. Now, there are those that don't feel that about her, but by and large, the louder ones despise this lady. Yet, on the other hand, kind of want Harry back. How does that work if they're a couple, if they're a unit? So Margot is stating her case. What did I really do? I had to tell Missy what Kimmy was saying about her. And Missy is saying, I do value the fact that she came back and told me. On the other end, we got Kimmy with Mark, Lady Emma, and Martha saying that, yeah, we don't know if Margot had good or bad intention, but she did have to go back and tell Margot what Kimmy said. I have to agree, because Kimmy is saying that I didn't say anything negative. I was just mentioning her brother. I didn't say anything negative, just that it kind of brought the mood down, and I'm not a person that likes to do that if we're supposed to be having fun. Kimmy, I don't know. I feel like it kind of was negative, because once Missy brought up the topic, what good does it do to talk about, it made you snooze, and then you question a person's motives, and then also to bring up the part of the conversation that made Missy most uncomfortable. So I don't blame Margot for bringing that back. And we find out that Margot has been friends with Missy for quite a while too, a decade or more. They got long friendships. They're mad that Meghan can't and took their prince. Yeah, she did. She took their prince. I think there was a lot of horse-faced women running around the UK delusional that they were going to get a Princess Diana or a Fergie wedding, and it didn't happen. Meghan snapped them up, but she snapped them up in Vegas. These horse-faced women were not going to be in Vegas at a party where Prince Harry might have been. Even though ugly Piers Morgan, he thought he had a chance with Meghan. He's mad years later. So they are having their different conversations, making fun of Margot for going sober. That is crazy. Their conversation is funny. And Lottie is saying the aggression was just too much. So, Kimmy, I think you're right. I think you are the doggone villain. That's what Phaedra Park said. Now I'm the doggone villain. And then Kimmy recognized, now I'm the villain? Yeah, Kimmy, I think they have you down as a villain. She can still fix this, though. We're only 5 episodes in. So then they asked Missy, Lottie in particular, said, Missy, how are you going to be the next time that you see Kimmy? Missy said, well, I'm not going to approach her, but if she wants to invite me or approach me, I will talk to her. So we'll see that later in the episode. Kimmy is going to invite Missy out. Kimmy is still fighting for her life over at this other lunch, and she's still dragging Margot, talking about Margot like a dog, and letting them know that she is the cause of the problem, not Kimmy. Margot is the one that caused the problem by bringing that back to Missy. Missy and Lottie agree that the information should have come back. I'm sorry it's going around in circles, but that's what it is, y'all. They got 2 separate groups talking about the same thing, this new feud, and who's to blame. So I'm going to cut through. Let's see if there's anything else. We see Myka at her session with the puppets, It's children puppets. It's funny. The two ladies are under the table and they're doing the thing. They're doing the voices, so they're joking around. This is a cute idea. Myka is very nervous, but I think it's very necessary. It's necessary, and she is saying, Kimmy, we hear. Oh, Kimmy's saying we hear your friend is a madam. They show all these little different situations that require etiquette, but none was shown. So this is really necessary within this group. And then now she's doing kids, so maybe they don't grow up to be mean people like this. I don't know. So Kimmy and Martha are actually going to go sit down for lunch. They greet each other. They both look really cute. They compliment each other's outfits. Kimmy's saying, you are looking very summery, and Martha looks good. Oh, I'm sorry. Did these two already meet? I put Martha instead of Missy. Let me see if this is the last lunch. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Some of these M names, and then when I do talk to text, but Kimmy and Missy are going to sit down. They meet each other at lunch. I may have to change where that was at, because I think that comes toward the end. I apologize, everybody. All right, Kimmy realizes the groups have a villain. Myka has already finished her little puppet launch. And Kimmy's adamant there was no need for Margot to bring up the rumor. Missy's adamant that, yeah, I needed to know the rumor. All right. Kimmy was saying, I was trying to talk to you. I had Margot on my side like a barking dog. And then on the other side with the other group, Margot is saying things would have worked fine if Kimmy wasn't barking like a dog, barking like a corgi. And the group is laughing. If she were a dog, she would be a corgi. So that part was kind of funny. Both groups is equating somebody else in the other group to a dog. But it's not cruel yet, but I feel like it could go there. So we got to keep an eye on it. Kimmy gets a confessional. I think this was important. Kimmy is saying, I want Missy to know, I've already apologized, but I want her to know that I wouldn't say anything that would hurt her, particularly about her brother. I realize that she's maybe more sensitive than me, and I will be mindful of that. So Kimmy, good. That is all you had to do, Kimmy. Because the fact that she kind of doubled down and then she didn't want to apologize at all, I don't like when people do that. So I think this confessional is important. Now she's going to sit down with Missy. It's important if she also does this in front of Missy. And then production shows us the two of them walking up to the restaurant. They are going to sit down together. So Missy comes in. They both look pretty. Kimmy puts her bag on the chair, and Missy says, that is beautiful. And in confessional, she says, I want to hate her, but I love the bag. So she's kind of joking about that. They want to make up. And she tells her, I didn't know how you would come in. And Kimmy said, you expect me to come in with a big old knife? Picks a knife off the table and acts like she's wielding the knife. So Kimmy's always going to go one step too far, but it was kind of funny. So the two of them sit down to talk. And Kimmy was saying, sometimes I joke too much. And Missy is saying she wants to close this chapter and she wants to move on with Kimmy as her friend. Kimmy is still alluding to Margot. She says, I got balls. I call a spade. And if someone else would just do that, it wouldn't have come to this. I don't know what Kimmy wanted Margot to do. She was talking about Missy like a dog. Missy and Margot are friends. So I don't know why Kimmy wouldn't expect that to come back. That doesn't make any sense. So they kind of go back and forth. Everything that Kimmy says, though, Missy was holding her feet to the fire. She says, I didn't mean it in a malicious way. And I'm sorry, not Margot. Kimmy says, I didn't mean it in a malicious way. And Missy, she's a model down here in the white. Missy says, you may not have, but it was really hurtful. And the fact that you were talking about my brother. And some people could take that as negative. And Kimmy was telling her she didn't know that she was that sensitive, but she'll keep that in mind. So I think these two are going to be okay. But before they ended, of course, Kimmy has to bring up Margot. She says, well, I was at lunch with Mark the other day, and I want to warn you about Margot. Mark was saying that they have a mutual friend they've known over 10 years, and this friend is saying that Margot is this whole new, unrecognizable persona. So now she's trying to kind of switch things around from people being mad at her to being mad at Margot. Good morning, Ophelia Burkholzer. Thank you for coming in during the live. I appreciate it. This is episode 5, Ladies in London Review. It's almost toward the end, but Ophelia, if you or anyone else's team replay, click the like button. And when you watch it from the beginning, if you get the opportunity, please also press the hype. There's a new hype feature, so thank you. We're sitting down at lunch with Kimmy and Missy. They're finally getting a chance to kind of hash out this argument that they feel like Margot started. Margot didn't really start it. She just brought information back. So Kimmy's saying she's got her acting hat on, and Missy's like, well, I don't know if she's got her acting hat on, but we do see flashback of Margot still talking about that old nasty movie she was in. Margot, you probably got 1 or 2 more times to do this. I think you've talked about it way too much already. We see her talking about labels again. So I don't know, who are they going to make Margot the villain? I don't know. They're looking for a villain because nobody's too bad. Nobody's too good. Lady Emma's kind of out of it. Lottie has, I mentioned something special. So we have Sandra P's Cloak of Immunity for first season cast members that I feel needed. I was going to put it over the show. I'm actually not. I'm going to put it over Myka, who started out needing it from Dara, and then she's still kind of green and a little naive. I'll put it over Lottie, even though Lottie is able to ably defend herself. She's pregnant. They're not really going to do too much to Lottie. And of course, right here, Lady Martha. Martha desperately needs a cloak of immunity. There was a scene, and I'm not sure, I might not have took the notes. My mouth was hanging open, but Kimmy and Martha sat down. Kimmy was pointing directly into Martha's face. I'm your friend, and if a friend were to say something about you to me, I'd defend you. And Martha ended up telling her, nothing terrible was said about you, and I am your friend, but if you're wrong, I can't defend you in that. But Martha was kind of like cowering a little bit and kind of scared of Kimmy. So when she was doing all that and pointing in her face, that's when we got the confessionals from Lady Emma and also Mark that Kimmy is a little aggressive and over the top in her delivery. And she was, with the leaning in and the pointing, and she was also still cursing. So depending on who she's talking to, that's not too good. So Missy says she's glad they've gotten back on track. She hopes that Margot can sit down and they can reevaluate whether or not she's a girl's girl. Kimmy says she thinks that Margot is a hypocrite. I don't know. 2 things can be true. She could be a girl's girl. She could be a hypocrite. I don't know. But the same with you, Kimmy. Kimmy, you could be a hypocrite as well. So I don't know. This was a pretty good episode. It was a lot of talking. They jam-pack a lot of different things into these episodes. But I think I have time to do a few extras because I was on the Bravo site and just going around trying to see different things about the cast. Mark Francis is going around doing his media tour. So he's meeting a lot of the different people that you see introducing and speaking about the Bravo celebrities. I saw him over on one of the channels. I can't remember the name. I think he was sitting down with, I won't even say because I can't remember. But Mark was alluding to something that's going to happen during this season. Him and Martha, Lady Martha, are going to get into it a little bit. So I don't know, Mark. I do not know. Let me see. I'm going to pull up and see what else I have here before we end. That was a pretty good episode. I'm going to give it a 7, I would say. I'll give it a 7. So also he alludes to Mark Francis and Margot are going to face off as well. And then, as I mentioned during the review, Martha and Kimmy were having the face-to-face. Kimmy was in her face and warning her against Margot. Lady Emma still standing pretty and to the side. Myka as well. Little Miss Etiquette does not want to get into any of this foolishness. We didn't see any Dara sightings we didn't hear a word about Dara. So Dara she tried to quit. They pulled her back in. She might have really been able to get out of here this time if they are able to wind up the show without her. Even though I feel like she could have made a pretty good villain. I think she acted hastily. Oh, Mark also mentioned that. They were asking, why do you think Dara really quit? Was it because of her affiliation to the royal family? He said, absolutely not. They have enough to worry about. They don't even know who she is. Mark, how can you say they don't know who she is? She is baby mama to one of either Beatrice or the Eugenie. I don't know. One of Fergie's horse-faced daughters. One of them have a husband that has a baby with Dara. So, Mark, either you don't know the details or this is a lie. The royal family does know who Dara is. I don't know if they didn't want her on a reality show or not, but I wish that Dara had stayed. I think it would have been interesting. Okay, let's see. American Born says, I saw an interview with Myka. She no longer hangs out with the madam, but she sent her son birthday gifts, etc. Oh, American Born, I can see her doing that as little Miss Etiquette. She probably doesn't want to burn that bridge, but I can also see her not hanging out and be friends with her either. Okay, I can save this from TikTok. This was funny. This was Lady Emma talking about the feud that the two of them were having, and she compared it to the Muppets. She said that let me show you. They're like the two old men in the theater.
I'm telling you now.
This is where they talk about her.
I've never seen these two have a spat. I see them as a double act. Tweedledum and Tweedledee. They're a bit like the Muppets who sit in the theatre. Two old men in the theatre who sit in the box and slag everyone off. That is Kimmy and Martha.
You see how they put Kimmy and Martha up there on the face of those Muppets? So production did do that throughout. It was pretty funny the way they were doing it. Y'all, that was still, I think that was it. I thought I had saved something else related to Mark, but I think I just made a note of it to talk about. Yeah, that was pretty funny. She was on Entertainment Tonight. Myka was on Entertainment Tonight. Myka does a lot of American TV. She was on one of the shows, I think Today's Show, whichever one has that third hour with, her name's not Bush, George and Laura Bush's daughter, Gemma. She married somebody. She married I don't know. She has a different name. Jenna Bush Hager or something. I think that is the one that Myka was on. But this is a pretty good show. This episode, higher than mid, because they try to kind of tie up a lot of things, but there's a lot of back and forth. The two groups now, and then we'll see what's going to happen. The good thing about the two groups is that people in each group are still neutral. Like Lady Emma and Mark kind of could care less. They're not really going to side with Kimmy. They just want to get all that good, juicy gossip from Kimmy. They could still sit down with anybody out of that other group, and nobody in the other group is ready or wanting or able really to alienate the group, of course, that Lady Emma is in, or Mark, who has a bunch of connections. Martha probably would be the one that's a little fearful of falling out with people, particularly Kimmy. Martha has her own issues. I'd like to see her kind of buck up a little bit at Kimmy, make Kimmy take that finger back, kind of like Margot did. And I'll put my Sandra P's first season cloak of immunity on Lady Margot. Lady Margot, Myka, and Lottie. I'm not going to extend it to the whole cast. Missy, I think, is a smooth operator. I don't think Missy needs any help. But if you haven't caught up or watched it yet, I think Linda Gamble mentioned she's going to go in and probably binge it. So it is on the Bravo TV app if you don't have Peacock. If you do have Peacock, I like it there because you don't have to endure the commercials. And then YouTube put the first few episodes on YouTube. So that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra for Ladies of London live review. Martha in the middle. Where's she at? In the middle. Martha, you got to get out of the middle and defend yourself. But this is well worth watching, everybody. Thank you. I'm working on something. I think I'm going to do a Bose and Amanda Francis kind of deep dive. Since Bose wants to pull up Chat GPT on people, and then Amanda did it to do it back to Bose on the after show. I think it would be funny to see what GPT says about both of them, as well as Reddit, as well as any other site that's got something to say about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay, confirmation from American Born. Yes, do it, please. Yeah, because I want to see what it is that Bose feels like Amanda's supposed to be hiding. And Bose, you might have similar things in your background. So I'm going to pull that out. I'll do it as a live, and you'll have at least an hour advance. Bose is out of control. I agree. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I don't know. Buffy the Vampire Slayer said you're boring. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Andy got in his feelings and went over there and said it on his radio show. He and Jeff Lewis, they mad, y'all. But it is boring. Angela A., welcome into the live review for Ladies of London, Season 4, Episode 5. Hey, Sandra P., mods, and chat. That was the end. I'm there. Thank you, Key1 JTV. Yes, I'll give an hour's notice. We'll go live. Bring your thoughts on Bose, Bazoma, Bozo, whatever you want to call her, Bazoma St. John, and Amanda Francis. Since Bose wants to set up a verses, we're going to do a verses and see who comes out on top. So that'll be sometime today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. And if you're a Team Replay, click the like button, find the hype button, and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion!
Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you?
That I don't think that he's good. That I don't.